What up, random rockers? Alrighty. It's been an interesting week. I think I did hear about some other records, but these are the ones that caught my eye, and what do you know? They're way more involved in the rock world than the metal world. That's new. Some I've been wanting to kind of get to, artists to talk about that I hadn't, which is what we're going to start with, and that is... And some we actually have done. And one that we haven't talked about, I'm going to start with. And that is... Orianthi, Rock Candy. Okay. Well, she is an Australian guitarist, singer, songwriter. This is her 5th album, apparently. I've known about her since she blew up after right around the time of her Believe album. Opening song and lead single of that record, According to You, was like her biggest song that ever charted or anything like that. So, and that's all I knew and bothered to care. For some reason, I never bothered with anything more than that with her. I slightly feel bad about it, but slightly not, because it seems she's went from what I could tell from just listening to According to You, essentially think Liz Phair's self-titled, if not also Avril Lavigne Best Damn Thing era. If she decided she could shred like Lita Ford. Not sure whether or not if Orianthi, who may or may not be watching this, will agree with this or not. This statement or not. Or maybe probably hates or at least maybe the Lita Ford one she'll like. I don't know. I'm hoping so. Maybe. She seemed like she could shred back in the 80s, and that's some decent... And that wouldn't surprise me if she could be an influence, actually. But now she's kind of more closer in line to from this album. She's more closer in line to a Hailstorm, Pretty Reckless kind of thing. It's possible she might have done it before they started blowing up. I don't know. But, because I didn't get to re-listen to the other albums, including the one that apparently was in 2013, was released on my birthday, of all things. Those who've seen my review of Opeth's Blackwater Park, you'll know what I'm talking about. Sort of know what I'm talking about by that. And that would have been her follow-up album to that. And then she did another album that's, I guess, was supposed to be self-titled. It's just called O. The only people that might get, I will say, I like it, but I don't love it. And it's weirdly, the most I've liked is weirdly her intro and outros, the Illuminates parts 1 and 2. If you're into the more typical shreddy blues rock, which she does do, obviously. I mean, she's worked beforehand. She blew up. I forgot to mention beforehand she blew up because of her getting noticed as being the say that 5 times fast, I guess. Potential touring guitarist for Michael Jackson for what would have been the This Is It tour, which blew her up eventually. Before Nita Strauss came into the picture, she was the guitarist for Alice Cooper for a while in the 2010s. And I guess she focused more on her solo stuff and more on being more of a shreddy guitarist, which I guess has been a good thing. And I'm sure that this would be a lovely PRS to give to my niece. I'm just gonna say that right now. Look at that. I mean, she is too, obviously. I feel like the men who are stupid that just don't want women to shred, the same people that bitch that Lita Ford can suck it, because you think she's become less attractive because she can shred better than you. Dude, no. That should be the opposite way. That should make you more attractive, actually. Not that she needs to do that anyway. But that's beside the point. Point is, I mean, as far as that's concerned, she's doing well, and see her poppy, like, I'd say she rocks in that regard. The candy part being the poppier side of her. That's fine. I mean, like I said, the whole Liz Phair, Avril Lavigne thing, the self-titled Avril Lavigne Best Damn Thing, kind of, the touch is a little forward, but still kind of there, but it's way more now Pretty Reckless, Hailstormy. I mean, it's, she's doing fine. I don't like it. And also to find out that, also, I don't know if she is married or not. You look that good, you should be. We're not taken or something. Yes. Apologies, but I'm just saying. You know, it is what it is. Sorry for this rough little start, but you know what? You get what I'm saying. I'm not. But anyways, musically, it's fine. I don't know if I'll come back to it as often as at least the other I'm going to talk about. So, but overall, I guess for her, you know what? I'll be somewhat nice and say it's like a light thumbs up. Light thumbs up. We'll go with that. I'll be generous. Why not? It's probably like more closer to like what Metal Meltdown would give as a decent, but you know. But I'd say it's, I guess, for like she's meant for a more female demographic. It's just a shame there's not enough female. Well, now there is more from online. In fact, you could say from her, according to you thing, she might as well have helped spawn potentially the guitarist chicks over the past decade, possibly, or at least unknowingly. And what we wound up getting out of Anita Strauss and Jim Ruggiero, like she was before all that. So there's your history on that. I'd like that PRS, but I wanted blue. And more the dragon one. That's just me. But anyways, that's my thoughts on that. Moving on. I'm sorry, I thought I had something on it. Anyways, moving on to Nothing More Spirits. Yeah, at first, I wasn't sure on this record. I liked the previous record. I listened to the first couple records around the time that their then newer album, the second one, I think it's called The Stories We Tell Ourselves. I'm gonna double check on this. Hold on. Yep, I was right. It was called The Stories We Tell Ourselves. And of course, the self-titled were like I remember the singles that were off of that self-titled though, more so than anything. But yeah, they're starting to blow up, and this is the follow-up to that record. I'm Tired of Winning's not bad. And which also included The Ships in the Night in the single, which that portion is when I started to click with this record for sure. And then, of course, I remember the single through Rocked during his Twitch streams, You Don't Know What Love Means, when I first heard about this record. I guess Don't Look Bad was a single. I'm not sure. The other F word, which is Spotting a Fake. Something. Not the one most people would think of. Oh, but they do get sort of much heavier and not nearly as new metal-y, I guess. As it keeps going, it just still remains interesting, but I feel like it becomes Valhalla, Too Young to See, and the title track do kind of become a good way to end this record for me. And they always have this socio-political kind of commentary of things and whatnot, with You Don't Know What Love Means, I guess, being a good, interesting thing on how people are about just dating scenes and stuff in general. I guess even for online dating, possibly. maybe. I'm probably misjudging it. I haven't had to sit with it, so forgive me for that. But I surprisingly like this Becker record. I surprisingly like this record way more than I should have. I was just, yeah. And I'm gonna just thumbs up two horns with this thing. I don't know if I mean I almost thought about it, but there was another album that came out that, you know, from a band that I think a lot of other people know. And anyone who knows this channel knows how much I like them and how much I've liked them more so even since their Creed days. Yes, y'all know where I'm going with this. If you've seen the thumbnail, you already did anyway. But I'm, of course, going to be talking about Ultra Bridge, Pawns and Kings. This would be the band's 7th studio full-length record, I believe. 10 tracks. Probably one of their possibly proggiest. And also still one among their heavier, at least in or at least more energetic, and has a somewhat heavier productions. You're more closer to, like, I get Dust and meets Cauterize production vibes. Maybe some of the elements that Tremonti was being utilized on Tremonti's last record a little bit, but definitely more so Dust in them, because this. Fuck me running. I was only I liked what I heard. I had lower expectations, honestly, going into this. I wasn't blown away by the last two records, even though Rocked wants you to think you should with The Last Hero. But honestly, it's boring. And even trying to go back and listen to it while I was binging this, Last Hero's the worst thing they've done. Genuinely. Not the worst thing here in the world. Just by Ultra Bridge standards. And that's still solid, by the way. It's not bad. It's just not great or incredible or, dare I say, masterclass certified. Like, I would mostly consider most of their work. Or at least the run they had on those first 4 albums, man. I know some people want to bitch and say, oh, to do this. Maybe they did, but they also took aspects of what they were doing on the side projects, found a way to blend them together, and make the best thing they ever did in Fortress. And they've yet to have topped it. At least for me, until now. Because somehow I didn't expect them to do it. Honestly. I expected a still good album, though. No matter what. I wasn't disappointed in that regard, but at first I wasn't entirely sure if I was going to like this as a whole. And then somehow, the way this album starts off and the way the production just feels and hits on me, and the way this album flows, and the moment they do have a little bit more progressive intricacies, I don't feel like there's a track on this album that's a dull moment to me. Like, they knew to cut it to 10 pieces, even though it turns out they have bonus tracks, and whenever they release a deluxe of this thing, I'm fucking getting it. Which, I still need to do that for Walk the Sky anyway. Last Rites is fine. It's pretty good. Don't know if I would say it's as good as Blackbird's, AB3's, and Fortress's bonus tracks. But if this is his album the way it already is any indication, those bonus tracks better not feel like bonus tracks. Just saying. From the start of this thing, This Is War. I mean, my first, of course, was the final track with Pawns and Kings, but we'll eventually get into it down the line. It's great. Denim on the Living was my first taste that I hadn't heard of anything from with this record before we get, and it still hits hard. Silver Ton is great, to the point where I almost thought this seemed like it was low-key sequel Metalingus, potentially. Because anyone who knows lingus is Latin for ton. It's a stretch. But you see where, but if you're an Ultimate fan, you see where I'm going with this. I don't have enough evidence because I don't have the lyrics here, but, you know. It is what it is. And Sin After Sin is a nice little, intricate little riff. And I love the way and lyrically, it's definitely one of the better tracks. The follow-up of that ends the first half, Stay, is really good as well. It's the Tremonti track, but I wasn't expecting to be on the softer kind of thing that you would expect from Tremonti's solo metal project, of course. Well, more metal-ish project, I would say. Metal lenient, adjacent, or thrash adjacent. Take that for what it's worth. And it's a fun little song. Holiday is nice. Apparently that track has Wolfgang Van Halen, I guess, on guitar, with some of his guitar. I think. I don't know if it's his actual stuff. But I guess he adds guitar into this, which if that's the case, why isn't he more involved in this band? Aside from his own buddy worker. Why he's not as involved as he should be still with Tremonti. It's what it is. It's fine. Still looking forward to Wolf Mammoth stuff later. But Holiday was pretty good. I think it's relatable enough lyrics. We all need a holiday sometimes. And even though it was more referencing the whole pandemic situation, kind of, sort of. And then Fable of the Silent Sun. Holy shit. This is... They've been trying to pull Blackbird for another Blackbird type thing forever. Closest you were going to get was what Tremonti did at the title track to Dust. It's not that Fortress didn't try, though. And it's not technically that Words Darker Than the Winds didn't in some way as well. Or even Waters Rising, for that matter. Maybe. But Fable of the Silent Sun is... A lot of people are... though the longest on this album, it's for good reason, though. Especially if you've already, known about, how Blackbird is. It don't waste time, either. It actually has a good flow to it. Not since Blackbird has that happen. Fortress isn't bad at it. But it would seem like things like Fortress and whatnot were just building blocks to lead to this. And I'm finally getting there again with this. And it works. Season of Promise is nice, following that Season of Promise. And I sort of get what Rocked is saying about Last Man Standing, and he still loves Pawns and Kings, apparently. But again, you're not giving Fable of the Silent Sun some love? Because that one was great. That's a great storytelling thing, vibe of how it's handled in structure, and the music really just ebbs and flows what a good progressive metal track should, and isn't being too wankery, which this band never usually is a wankery type band anyway. So you're going to, if they go prog, you're going to expect something better, especially if, already earlier tracks, like I said, with some of the riffage, from Sin After Sin, wasn't already hinting at that. And yeah, Pawns and Kings, and then once I heard Last Man Standing how great that was, I already knew by the time Pawns and Kings was coming up, it was they already capped this off great. Because I already knew and heard Pawns and Kings, I already know it's good. Pretty damn good at this point. So, by the time my first listen, I may not have gotten the same exact because I saw it a little more coming, but I still enjoyed it for what it is. And I'm still having fun. Something I can't quite say about the previous two albums, and it took them this long for it to finally click. So overall, guys, Pawns, I'm already saying it's album of the year contender. I almost, for a brief second, until last night, before recording this, briefly, I almost thought that this album would have beaten, like, to the point where when this happened, I was like, did they actually do what I wasn't sure they were actually going to do? And not only it being the best thing they did since Fortress, but being, for this year, possibly better than Moontooth's Phototroph. And then I did re-listen to it, and maybe I was possibly over-exaggerating about it, because I'm still sort of enjoying Moontooth more, but even so, I'm still not sure, and we still have the end of the year. Like, that's what's up, man. Like, I'm dead serious. Huh. Pawns and Kings, if you hadn't figured it out already. Horns Up. Masterclass. I'm a happy fan. Beyond a happy fan. And plus, this is the most metal album cover this band has ever had, by the way. Usually you expect this more out of Mark's own solo project thing. Said we got it on here. That's badass. Like, this is like, I don't know if I would start with this album for some, like, beginners. What I would do, weirdly, I would rather just kind of start at the beginning. As that was my go-to. Go there, man. You'll be fine. Sure, like, if you know the history of that band, of the 3/4 of that band that was Creed, that is this band. Yeah, and the dealings with the wind-up were with the same label that they had been with at that point, trying to move forward and move on, but yet the label wouldn't let them, and I guess the best they could do was get the same production team that helped Miles Kennedy out with his old band, and they would just try to sound more like his old band than sound like Creed, yet not that they didn't already make them fight for it. The fact that first record still sounds as good as it does and flows still as well and is as fun as it is just, wow. Just, yeah, I'd still check it out. I wouldn't, as a starting point, it's a good easing in, especially if you're more of a rocker than a metalhead. And then maybe just keep going with the discography. Just go on a run with this discography. It's hard not to find that, And then maybe if you want, you can skip this 2 records and just go straight to this, maybe. And then go into those 2 records as deeper dives. I'm more understanding of Walk the Sky being, I think I have talked about that record already. And I liked it a lot, I remember at the time. I still do, or at least I still have more fun with it, at least, than I would ever say about Last Hero, so. Though I don't know if I would pick it over Monday Remains still. That's debatable, but I'm not going to blame anyone if they put Walk the Sky higher up on their list than when Monday Remains or something. Might be debatable about Blackbird or AB3 or Fortress for that matter for me, but that's be about the extent of it. Unless it's this record. This record is proven enough already. Just within its first listen, I already knew this record was exactly what I needed, production-wise, sound-wise. A lot of the ideas here, and they still have a good chance of being relatable. They still haven't stopped being as talented as they are. They haven't let up. Miles Kennedy still sounds as great as he does. Overall, just once again, horns up. This album freaking rules. What did you guys think of all of these albums here, ladies and gentlemen? What did you think of the Orianthi Nothing More, and Older Bridge albums. Mwah. Leave a comment below. Let me know. If you like this video, rock that like button with the rest of your must. Hit the subscribe button. Click the notification bell on there to get all, just to see all of my videos. And as always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, y'all.